step back, and whoever said earlier, you know, when we used to have 3 movie theaters in town. We used to have 2 bowling alleys in town and 1 just a stone's throw from town. So we had a lot of that stuff here before. It was here, and it was being supported before we had the density that we have now. But times have changed. We have the freeway. I mean, what would Costco, if someone would have described Costco or Sam's Club to you 30 years ago, you're like, crazy? Take my whole town out. And that's kind of, you know, what happens when you end up with these big places. But there are so many new concepts. Drive-throughs didn't exist the way we know them today 40 years ago. I mean, and the demands of the retailers, for those of you in the room that have this experience, and I'm not going to tell you anything new, but our days are spent speaking to nothing but retailers, everything from mom and pop to national chains, and to listen to their requirements, because, you know, when we've been speaking around town forever, there was an elected official here at one time that used to proclaim that, you know, if we could just get a Marie Callender's here. He said it so long, Marie Callender's is now like that. You know, at one time they were going like this when he probably started saying it. Now they're done. So, you know, things have changed, and the demands of the retailers, they get so specific when you're actually speaking to them. As Fred was saying, you know, they want complementary anchorage. They want so much ceiling height, so much glass. They want the parking accessible, so if you're going to buy what they sell, that their shopping cart can make it within so many steps. They've studied their businesses to death, and when they decide to come in, they're not taking any chances. That's why Costco hit such a home run. They already, I heard, we're all hearing all these little Costco stories, I heard that they actually predicted this, that they actually had enough data on this that they knew where they would be. It's no surprise to them, and that's why they went and did it. So there's a lot of information out there, and it varies on who you're going to work with, but it's something to keep in mind, because, you know, we hear people saying all the time, I'm not thinking specifically of one right now, but someone will say, well, why don't we have you like Old Navy, right? And because Adriana thinks that Old Navy would just hit it right here. And we were in the car at the shopping center conference with the people from Old Navy last spring, and we had a serious conversation with them, and they said, we're not expanding. You know, we may hit a home run in your neighborhood, but we're done. We're not doing any expanding right now. That was a year ago May. Things change. I think when it comes to this theater concept and the city's involvement, you have to stimulate it. Culver City has done it, and it requires, you know, a serious commitment on behalf of the city. You own all the land, or the biggest pieces of land where it could actually occur, and it has to be your lead that makes it happen. And that sounds a little odd, because it's a heavy business use, but if you ever sit down with one of these movie theater operators, they want you to provide the parking. Some of them even want the darn building. You know, when you look at some of these deal structures, they put a lot of requirements on a community because they know what they're going to do to the community when they come in. And those are negotiations that can only take place when you actually get yourself in a position to have a serious conversation with them, because they have their own requirements. And I think it was mentioned earlier that, you know, they have a magic number of like 14 screens. They have an efficiency. And one of the reasons that they've explained they need 14 screens is because they don't want competition. If you come in with 8 screens, which may work very well and feel good in your community and feel like a good fit, someone may come in, see you test the market and build 14 screens next to the freeway, and you're done.